It's probably no secret that I love a bit of content planning. In fact, I kind of describe it as a hobby. I love content planning for other people as well as myself because I just find it fun. However, in my travels across the internet, as I've been helping other people put together their content plans, there are a whole bunch of mistakes that I've noticed people make consistently. And these are things that are really easy to rectify and that will have a huge impact on the way you feel about your content creation and how you show up for your people. So in this episode, I'm going to walk you through 5 of those, and I'm going to share how to get around them, how to fix them, how to just feel better about your content planning. I hope you enjoy. Do you ever feel like you're drowning in a sea of marketing musts and shitty business shoulds? Yeah? Well, you're in the right place. Your Biz, Your Rules is here to help you kick that crap out of the road so you can build your biz your way. I just want to start this episode by apologising for the sound quality. I've been having some serious dramas with my microphone over the past little while, and yeah, it's not perfect, it's not as crisp as I'd like it to be, but hopefully you still get a lot from this episode, and even more hopefully, it'll be fixed soon. So let's get straight to it. Today I really want to talk about the common mistakes that I see a lot of people making with their content plans. Now, don't get me wrong, any content plan is better than no content plan, but still, I think there are things that you could be doing to simplify and make it feel a lot more easy, a lot more effortless. And that's what you want, because you want your content creation workflows to keep happening. You want them to keep happening every single week. And that is only going to occur if the system is simple, if you know what you're doing, if it's not too complicated to follow along, and all that jazz. So I'm going to go through 4 or 5 different things that I see people doing. I'm going to share a few tips on how you can just tighten it up, make it a little bit easier to implement, and maybe have a little bit more fun along the way. So first things first, people really overcomplicate the system itself. And I mean like the actual tool that you use to house your content plan. So what I always recommend is to start out with a simple spreadsheet. There are so many cool tools and downloadables and apps and whatever out there that you could use to plan your content. There are loads of cool planners and diaries and wall calendars, and all of that stuff is great. Don't get me wrong, I love that stuff. The amount of times I've bought things just so that I can make new content plans without actually creating the content, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. But if the aim of the game is to get you creating content regularly and showing up for your people, then a simple system is best, because you want to be spending your time and energy on creating the thing, not planning the thing, as much fun as the planning might be. So like I said, start out with a simple spreadsheet. I'm going to pop a template that I share in the content arsenal here in the show notes so that you can swipe that and get going right away. There are many other ways that you can plan your content, but I'm really recommending the spreadsheet first. And then if you're really well behaved and you stick to it, I might share my super secret Asana content planning system too, because that's just a little bit of color-coded fun. Now, thing number 2, I see a lot of people focusing on, or trying to focus on, all of the platforms and all of the strategies. Now, that is a one-way ticket to overwhelm city. Trust me on that. My biggest tip let's talk about the 2 separately. So, platforms. I always recommend having one form of core content. So that would be like a podcast like this one, or a blog, or a video show, or a weekly live stream show, something like that, that's your like core original content each week. And then having one platform where you show up every day, you share that original content, you engage with people, you connect and do all of that stuff. So that is one place where you're creating your core content, and one place where you're really connecting with your people. And that's it. Imagine that. How simple is that? Now, this is just for starting out, and then each 90 days when you review your business, review your planning, try adding something else to the mix. So let's use me as an example. I might use my podcast as my core content, and then Instagram as my showing up and engaging with people content. But then maybe in 90 days, I could also add publishing a weekly article on Medium to the mix, or I could add doing a weekly live stream that streams across both Instagram and Facebook to the mix. But it's just adding one thing each time so that you can really get it down so that it runs on automatic, or not quite automatic, but it runs in a way that feels easy breezy. It doesn't feel like you're chasing yourself around like a headless chicken, not really clear what's going on. And then with regards to strategies, oh my god, I could do a whole episode on this. There are so many amazing minds out there, and they all have amazing systems and workflows and frameworks that can work amazingly well, but not all at the same time. My biggest, most important piece of advice here is to pick one system and go with that. Don't try and follow what 3 or 4 different influencers say. They could be the most amazing coaches, the most amazing mentors, but if you try and implement all 4 of those systems, it's not going to work. It's not going to be sustainable, and you're always going to feel a little bit lacking. So if you want to try and implement somebody else's system, great, just pick one. Now, the third thing, I often see people planning in silos, and what I mean by that is they will have their business goals, their business strategy, their business plan as a whole separate entity, and then they'll have their content plan. And that's just insanity. And I always say that your content is not the goal, it's the thing that will get you closer to your goal. So you need to make those 2 plans speak to each other. You need to know what your business plan is. You need to know when you're going to launch things, if you're going to be involved in affiliate campaigns, if you're going to be hiring people, all of that stuff, because your content will be impacted by that stuff. So if you know you're going to launch, then you need to map that into your content plan, because you'll need to create launch content. If you know that you're going to be involved in an affiliate campaign, same thing. If you know you're going to hire a team member, you want to plug that into your content plan so that you can do some posts on social media about that and maybe get some applications. Both sides of your planning need to line up with each other. It is honestly, that will make the biggest difference to the way you show up, because you'll be focused, everything will be strategic, you won't feel like you're pouring all of your time and energy into a vacuum that never comments back. You'll see the results that way, trust me. So if you do one thing from listening to this podcast, bring a bit of your goals and your business planning into your content plan so that everything is on the same path. Another thing, and I'm so guilty of this one, is the idea treadmill panic. That's the only way I can think of to describe it. So I'm the kind of person who all of a sudden will be flooded with all of these ideas. And I'm talking 50, 60, 70 new ideas for pieces of content. And when I see all of those ideas there, this sense of unease sets in, because I feel like I'm racing against the clock to actually use up all of those ideas, which is it's never going to happen, because there are always going to be more ideas. But it's really difficult to step back and be selective about what you're sharing, and that is important. So what I would recommend you do, and this is something that I started doing myself because, like I said, this is my Achilles heel, is I'll have a section of my content plan. So if I'm using the spreadsheet, it'll just be a separate tab, and I will dump all of my sort of bonus ideas there, and then every time I do my content plan, I'll look at that tab and let it feed in. But I won't think, oh my god, I've had these 5 amazing ideas, I need to publish them right now. Because when you do that, you get frantic, you get unfocused, and it deviates from that planning that we've just been talking about. It stops it from feeling easy and effortless and scheduled and like it's actually doable long term. And that's what we want. We want this to feel doable long term. So give yourself a good talking to if you feel those crazy emotions setting in, and just save those ideas for later. They're never going to run out. You're not going to expire. They're not going to expire. Your ideas are going to be there when you need some. So, calm down. And then the last one, and this is a surprising one, but one that not a lot of people think about, is they fail to plan for action. And what I mean by that is they fail to plan the time to actually do all of the things they're planning. And obviously there's a really quick fix here. So if you've got your system set up, you know what you're going to be creating, just block out time in your calendar to do that. And give yourself some buffer, because it will always take longer than you expect it to. But just create calendar blocks for your different content assets. And that's why I recommend getting really focused on the platforms that you're going to show up on and the type of content you create, because that makes it really easy to then batch what you're doing. So for example, on a Friday, I have a block of time set aside to record and edit my podcast. And then on a Tuesday, I have a block of time set aside to create the show notes and the email that goes along with my podcast. So I don't have to do it all in one go. It's broken up throughout the week, but I can batch tasks at a time. So I could record 2 or 3 episodes in one go, and then I could do 2 or 3 show notes in one go, but not podcast show notes, because then you're switching between tasks. It takes longer to do, you're faffing about, and yeah, it doesn't feel as effortless. So really look at that plan, look at what you're hoping to achieve, and then set the time aside. So just to recap, the big mistakes that many people are making in their content plans, but I hope now is not going to be you. Number 1, overcomplicating the systems itself. Number 2, focusing on all the platforms and all the strategies at the same time. Number 3, planning in silos. Number 4, panicking about the crazy flood of ideas when really you should be feeling excited. And number 5, failing to plan to actually do the stuff. So please, after you finish listening to this, just take 20 minutes to rejig the way that you're content planning, and then come and find me on Instagram and tell me all about it, because I love to hear your winning stories. Okay, on that note, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for listening. I genuinely hope that you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as I enjoyed creating it, because seriously, I love this stuff. Now, if you'd like to take it a little bit further, if you'd like to learn more from me, just have a bit of a chat, or share your thoughts on this show, then please do come find me on Instagram. My handle is @DaraCharlotte. I'll see you there.